Disclaimer. The content contained in this video is of a disturbing nature and is not recommended for all audiences. Viewer discretion should be advised.
This does not even deserve a captain's log introduction, because this is dead serious.
Say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
It's my fault. I admit it's my fault. So yeah, please get everything off of the internet now, 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 now! So yeah, she's got really sensitive G-spot because apparently I don't believe Ethan, Mr. C, any of her past boyfriends and ex-husbands, they haven't really reached and hit her G-spot really with their dicks. So I just gave her comfort and talked with her, and we just branched out slow and steady, and then I encouraged her positively, let her make the first move. She wanted to do it, and
she did? Really? She made the first move?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, Barbara. You kissed her? How did that feel? Having known this woman for your whole life, how did that feel?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was simple, lip to lip kiss content, but yeah, it was actually good and it felt right. Yeah, obviously, I'm never gonna propose marriage to her at all because we're already daughter and mom.
Yeah, mother and daughter. You know, they say there's no stronger bond than a mother and her daughter. Sorry?
We've been doing it every third night, and the first night being on June 27th.
Oh, you have a routine? Oh.
Yeah.
But how did this happen? How did this come about?
Well, among which just mainly I was really, really horny and I needed the true and honest relationship to come about, so obviously this was one of the best ways to do it, despite it being with the, and I don't want to believe the labels at all, but I mean, obviously,
right.
It took us a few nights to figure out what made what feel right and what didn't feel right. And
does your mother enjoy it?
Yeah, she's having a good time. Literally.
She is. She's having a good time.
Especially what we figured out.
That's good to hear.
Well, that was soul draining.
Captain's log, stardate, October 21st, 2008. Well, it's done. Blanca and I, well, she broke up with me because the pickle man tricked me again. Hello everybody, Christine Chandler coming to you live from home once again, and the mortgage payment is really due tomorrow, and we have to make 2 months payments this month, and we need like $200, so please get on eBay, buy the shit, buy the stuff, buy the things off of eBay, we need more money.
Everybody out there, buy things off of eBay.
Off of Christine's eBay.
Off of Christine's eBay to help us pay our mortgage.
Please.
Thank you.
Curse the trolls. Peace to everybody else.
Stop it. Get some help.
Hey everybody, this is Chijoke Panda back in action about something else today. By something else, it's kind of serious. As in, seriously fucked up. So if you happen to have a weak mental disposition, or maybe you get a little bit squeamish about these sorts of things, maybe you should go watch something else on my channel, because this is kind of going beyond the realms of normal drama into something that goes far beyond anything that I would imagine to have happened. Words cannot describe the feelings that came to mind when I first heard about this, which was yesterday. Actually, it was earlier this morning, about 12 o'clock last night. A friend of mine actually reached out to me and said, "Holy crap, dude, did you just hear about the recent Christian drama?" And I'm just like, you know, I could only imagine what was going to happen, because Christian is an individual that has caught my fascination for many years now. I know quite a lot about the individual, given the fact that he's quite possibly the most well-documented individual, you know, ever to have lived. I mean, there's more information known about Christian than, say, George Washington, just quoting Harry Partridge when I say this, but it's true. A variety of trolls have come and gone over the years, and they have done a great deal to sort of extract information out of Christian, and I guess you can say that they manipulated him into basically sacrificing or giving up a lot of information freely upon request. Basically under the pretenses of there being a fictionalized girlfriend that Christian thought he was dating, but, you know, was actually not. But yeah, Christian, to me, he always struck me as, like, back then, he wasn't really necessarily a bad person, but he wasn't a good person either. He was kind of, he was well-meaning in some ways, and at the same time just very self-absorbed and egotistical and ignorant about how the worldwide world works around him. But that didn't necessarily make him a bad person, it just made him ignorant. I mean, there are plenty of people that tried to improve him along the way, but there came a point in time where Christian sort of diverged from the path of, you know, a typical person of his disposition. Most people would just fade into irrelevancy and live, you know, a simple, modest living. But Christian has just had sort of like wild antics as the cornerstone of his interactions with the web of years to date, and I don't think I need to say that to any great detail, but I'll just go ahead and mention some highlights. He ran over a man by the name of Michael Schneider with his car, switched places with his mom, backed over him, drove off. Successful hit and run. He was arrested for that, and he resisted arrest, and yeah, Michael Schneider was nice enough to drop the charges. Later on, he maced a GameStop employee because, you know, they were going to call the police on him because he was violating a trespassing charge, because he had previously been defacing store merchandise related to Sonic Boom. Sonic's arms are not blue, and for whatever reason, the change from beige to blue really triggered Christian, to the point that he was willing to put custom-made titles or deface merchandise in order to correct this, you know, disturbance. Usually as local game, like, outlets, like, you know, GameStop, Walmart, I think there were a couple others, but yeah, all of them summarily banned him. Anyway, that's not the focus of this video. What I'm trying to paint is a picture of an individual that's certainly no stranger to controversy. Controversy has followed Christian for as long as he's been on the web, and that's not really a surprise. What was surprising to me is the fact that a lot of trolls were giving him revenue, as in patron donations and things like that. However, there was a particular comment that I noticed on one particular video where Christian was borderline demanding and harassing his, like, you know, subscribers and followers on YouTube to go on eBay, buy, quote-unquote, buy the stuff, as in his offerings on eBay. And, like, on top of that, basically saying, like, hey, like, we need to pay our mortgage. Like, the mortgage is really due tomorrow. Please, get on eBay, buy the stuff, we need money now. A particular comment was almost prophetic in the way that it becomes relevant today. That particular comment was basically saying, like, this Christian is not like the old Christian, alright? They are deranged, they are sinister, they have gone beyond what could be considered, you know, a normal person. Christian was never really normal, but he sort of looked normal back then, and if you saw him out in public, you wouldn't really pay it no mind. Until you got close to him and actually heard, you know, and saw the bizarre nature that follows him. But, yeah, basically they say that if Barbara dies, Christian would probably try to have sex with the body, because it would be his only chance, and he probably wouldn't report the death to any authorities until much later. Disturbing, but strangely prophetic, because this sort of saga is going to take a drastic turn into darkness. So I almost didn't believe it when I heard it the first time. I mean, it was just so shocking to me. Like, Christian has been desperate to find a girlfriend. He's been desperate to lose his virginity. He actually already lost his virginity to a hooker, strangely enough, years ago. But he never had a true girlfriend, and I guess, like, the longing for sex, like, you know, sort of got to him. There's no real easy way for me to, like, just come out and say this, so I'm just gonna come out and say this. Christian fucked his mom. I'm sorry if that shocks any of you, but yeah. At least that's what he said that he did. He was strangely open about it to a girl named Chrissy, I think. There were chat logs, and there was an audio log shared where he revealed these, you know, details. And it was just kind of shocking. It's like, he comes out and just says it. Like, you know, it's no big deal. Your mother, the woman from which you were birthed from her womb, you fucked her. Also, for context, Barbara is borderline, like, dementia-ridden, and she doesn't really seem to know what she's doing or where she's going. And I guess we should have seen the warning signs, like, leading up to this point all this time, because Barbara has been kind of, you know, out in outer space for a while now. She would several times be exploited for Christian's begging videos, basically, like, endorsing Christian on his command. And the vibe that a lot of audience members would get, including myself, was that Christian was, like, behind the camera holding a gun to Barbara and basically saying, like, you know, like, endorse my channel, ma, or else. And it was always kind of creepy, like, seeing this poor, like, woman being put up on camera and being forced to sort of just say, hey, like, buy stuff off of eBay to help us pay our mortgage. And you would hear Christian in the back, like, you know, correcting her and being like, Christine's eBay, please, thank you. And it's just, those kind of videos were always so awkward to watch. Because Barbara, she was kind of like a feisty woman. She was very, I wouldn't say she was prim and proper, because she definitely became a hoarder and sort of degenerated. And a lot of trolls took to calling her Snorlax because she was huge. But no, she's lost a great deal of weight, and now she's a frail old woman whose mind has degraded to the point that she doesn't really seem to know what she's doing or where she's going. Here's the thing. Christian was her sole caretaker. I believe, like, you know, the authorities got involved when they found out about all this, and Barbara will now be taken care of by the state. But at the same time, it's just like, god damn, Christian, to what points can your degeneracy and fall from fair grace be any more complete than this? Because, I'm not sure, like, when it happened. Like, there's always sort of a gradual transition of things. Like, for instance, like, take an RPG game. Take, like, a story-heavy, story-ridden game that basically, the choices that you make early on in the game will impact the ending. So there's either a good ending or a bad ending. Well, Christian's life can be described as the same thing. He made a variety of terrible choices over the years, and now, this is the absolute worst ending that we could have imagined. Short of him murdering somebody, so let's hope that doesn't happen, but at this point, I'm not surprised about anything that happens in that household. But what's this going to do for Christian? I mean, he engaged in, like, you know, incest with his own mother. That's borderline, like, that's borderline rape. Well, that is rape. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, because Barbara can't really, she's not in command of her faculties, so she can't really say no or yes and, like, understand what the connotations will be. So it's just kind of like, ooh. What's this going to do for Christian? I'm wondering if he's going to get arrested, number one. I'm wondering if he's going to be put into a homeless shelter himself, because Barbara and the benefits that they were receiving from the state were pretty much the only thing, as far as I'm aware, that was keeping the house afloat. Because all of the money, as far as donations from Patreon and, like, various other places that Christian was privy to, one, my prediction is that's going to dry up real fast. Two, even if he was going to continue receiving the same amount of donations, Christian's spending habits are worse than mine. He buys anything and everything that he possibly can get his hands on. Usually, things that are either overpriced or just not very necessary, like Legos, My Little Pony action figures, and whatnot. And it's just, he's living the life of a man-child. And if you're wondering why I'm calling them a he instead of a she throughout this whole video, I don't really believe that Chris Chan's trans. I think it was just like a last-ditch effort to try to attract a girlfriend to her. Because, you know, she saw, hey, there's a lot of, like, you know, girls out there, and a lot of girls like to be lesbians, and, you know, maybe I could be a girl. Like, so, like, you know, his pursuit for a boyfriend-free girl has spanned the course of, like, at least a decade, if not more. If you're wondering what the love quest was, it was basically Chris Chan's attempt to attract a girlfriend to him, with the belief that if he got a girlfriend, all of his problems would magically disappear. It just seems like he's a transtrender, number one. Number two, tits. Troll-induced transgender syndrome. That is definitely, like, an influencing factor in all this. If you don't believe me, just study the course of Chris Chan's life. You can sort of see the warning signs, like, coming up. For instance, like, one of his gal pals told him that he needs to get in touch with his feminine side. So he was listening to binaural beats and putting estrogen cream on to try to grow titties. Chris Chan's just fat, so those tits are more like man tits. But, yeah, where do I even go from here? Because, like, I'm just shocked because Chris Chan was always just the butt of the joke, like, kind of village idiot that you kind of laughed at, but you can feel enough sympathy for that you wouldn't go out of your way to try to wish him harm or anything like that. You would just kind of laugh at whatever nonsense was going on at the time and call it a day. But this is something that, like, absolutely shocked me to the core. Because I talked about Chris Chan a lot, not on this channel or anything like that, just with friends. That was usually years ago. I didn't really keep up with, like, Chris Chan's latest and greatest antics. What I am aware of is that Chris Chan has sort of devolved into the sense that they think that they're an astral goddess, and that they think that a dimensional merge is going to happen, where all fictional mediums are their own separate universes, and it's all going to compress into one state of being. And what's kind of fucked up is that they basically admit that a lot of people are going to die for this merge to happen. As in, like, 50% of the people are just going to die. And then 50% of the people, you're going to become your own original fictional fan character. You can shake hands with Superman, or, like, you know, save crime with Batman. Yeah. So, the fact that he raped his mom doesn't really shock me insofar as Chris Chan himself seems to be completely delusional and has lost any sense of connection with reality. And it's abhorrent, honestly, what he did. This is... I don't even know how to describe it. Like, the way that they go into detail describing this, I'm wondering, like, Chrissy, like, what if impact this had on them, because this girl, she pretended to be very engaged and interested in what Chris Chan was saying, and Chris Chan had no qualms going into detail about how this was completely fine and how they did it, and it was like, the question was like, well, did she enjoy it? And it's like, oh, yeah, she did. And it's like, Barbara probably doesn't know where she is, let alone what's happening to her. So, the fact that Barbara got taken away from Chris Chan, not a bad thing. Honestly, it should have happened years ago, but I guess Chris Chan was at least feeding her and making sure that she was taken care of, which is more than I could ask for somebody that's, quote-unquote, high-functioning autistic. I only say that because Chris Chan is definitely not high-functioning autistic. They are what my friend would say is low-functioning. The fact that they just seem to immerse themselves in this fantasy land and fiction is, you know, testament to where they are in life. The trolling and, like, all that stuff has definitely had an impact on Chris Chan, but I really can't fault the trolls too much because Chris Chan is the one that would sort of put himself out there. He had several opportunities to sort of step back and reassess the situation and just sort of be like, alright, maybe the internet's not for me, or maybe I should change my username, or maybe I should do something else. No. He would go back and fall for the same thing over and over and over again. And you know what's shocking? You might be shocked to know this, but I actually saw Chris Chan in real life. I was actually tempted to walk over and ask for a photograph to sort of prove that I was there. It was at MagFest, I believe it was 2017 or 2018, and Chris Chan was looking actually fairly healthy considering everything that's happened, like, in person. I stayed a minimum distance of about 50 feet, and I had two thoughts that crossed my mind. One, if I want a photo, that's going to be on my phone, and I don't necessarily think I want something like that on my phone. Maybe tucked away in the darkest crevices of my, like, internal hard drive, but definitely not my phone. Fact number 2. I would have to get within 5 feet distance of Christian to initiate conversation. Which, if you remember too many games, Christian started hugging and kissing people that wanted photographs with them, to the point that he had a complete meltdown when the convention tried to kick him out for his bad behavior. Yeah. So where do I end this video? There has been a litany of videos out there that basically chronicle Christian's everyday life, and the gradual change in things is that Christian always just seemed like this bombastic, sort of like spazzy kid that turned into a man-child when he got older, and wasn't necessarily harmful. Like, they weren't dangerous or anything like that. They were just a joke, you know? A perpetual joke. This isn't even a bad joke. This is like something that's born from evil and malice. I guess Christian's desperation has hit a new level, because I could not think of any possible explanation or reasonable explanation that would substantiate him fucking his own mom. Anyway, let's hope that Barbara can at least recover from this and be alright, but given the fact that she has dementia and her lifestyle probably contributed greatly to her state of being right now, I don't think she's just going to magically get better. I think this is going to be a slow decline for her, and for as, like, detestable of a woman that she was, I mean, like, Christian's brother had very, very choice words for her. Very choice words to describe her. Very choice words to sort of, like, summarize everything that happened in the household. The Chandler household before he left. Schmitty, I believe his name was. It's off the top of my head. I don't remember, like, right off the top of my head, but I can tell you that his relationship with Christian was not very positive, and the fact is, it was a half-brother, because, like, you know, the brother was actually born from another man, like, as in, another man fucked Christian's mom, and, you know, that's how his brother came to be, so he's a half-brother. And he left for New York and had a decently successful movie review-making career, I'm assuming. He reviewed movies, and sometimes he'd give good reviews or bad reviews, and people would judge him respectively. But yeah, Barbara, like, the trolls hated Barbara. Ironically, the trolls loved Christian's dad, Bob Chandler, because, you know, he was this fun Hank Hill type of guy, a little bit older than Hank Hill. He was like a merge between Cotton Hill and Hank Hill, but, like, he earned the title of being the internet lumberjack because, you know, he basically told Christian, "That's it, I'm cutting down your internet. I'm chopping it down," in one famous video. You know, I'm just going to say this, to sort of recap all of this. If you watch Christian's content, a lot of it is going to seem like sort of a perpetual sitcom from the 90s. In fact, there's one particular video where people actually put a laugh track and, like, 90s-esque sitcom music to it, and it's absolutely perfect. In fact, I wish somebody out there would take all of Christian's old content and basically put laugh tracks on it and, like, a poppy 90s, like, sitcom music on it. Make it like Seinfeld, you know? Because that'd be great. At least his older content. The problem is, ever since after all the trolling sagas happened, after all of the internet girlfriends turned out to be fake, Christian's state of mind had become bitter. He was very embittered. He was visibly embittered, and this sort of cheery, sing-songy sort of, like, portrayal that he puts on as an act in front of the camera, it's artificial insofar as Christian harbored some deep resentment and some deep, like, you know, I guess animus against the people that had wronged him previously in life. Because back then, he was kind of like a cartoon character. He always wore the same shirt every day, or at least some variation of it. He always wore his fucking medallion around his neck. The Silent Shoe medallion, I mean. And, like, all of this to say that he was just like a man-child. He turned from a child to a man-child and was always, you know, this quirky, fun character that people would like to poke fun at sometimes. There was no, well, there was some malice from the trolls, but generally speaking, there was no malice, no genuine malice from Christian. Like, he was harmless enough that you wouldn't really think that he was capable of, like, engaging in violence. Except for that time that he ran over Michael Schneider. That was definitely unwarranted and unprecedented, but everything else, you know, the change came later, and The fact that he's sort of like advocating for this dimensional merge and using real life tragedies like the hurricanes in the Philippines or like Florida or, you know, COVID-19 to sort of justify the fact that the merge is definitely coming is testament to how far he's gone. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the point where there's nothing but bad things that can really come from the Christian sagas from this point onwards. I mean, this is the first time in a while that something truly terrible has happened, and this is the absolute worst thing that Christian's ever done, hands down. But yeah, famed author of Sonichu and basically an internet sensation, a quote-unquote internet legend, if you prefer. Well, this is a very sad state of affairs to find him in, and this is honestly not the direction that I thought that this whole grand saga was going to go. But you know, the world around me ceases to amaze at this point. There has been so much strange, bizarre behavior from people that I might as well just shrug my shoulders and take this as a mere incident than anything worth really talking about. But I digress. I report this to you all because Christian held a special spot in my heart. He was always that cringeworthy person that you'd poke fun at parties or something like that if the topic Christian came up. Why the topic of Christian would come up? Well, you know, get a couple drinks in somebody and, you know, whatever bizarre things that they're aware of just sort of come out to the forefront. There was somebody I only lightly really touched on this channel. I'd make references here and there, but really, they weren't somebody I ever really thought to go into any great detail or length on. Occasionally talked about him in VR chat with some people. I mean, some people were curious enough to know about it, and other people knew immediately what I was talking about. To the point that they came off as being a Christorian. But yeah, I'm trying to put a positive spin on all this, but I know I can't. Let's hope that Christian gets the help that they need, because I think they need some serious counseling and some mental help at this point from a professional care facility. Not necessarily an asylum, but definitely some modicum of mental health through therapy and maybe some sort of a mental health assessment. They definitely need a psychiatric evaluation, number one. Number two, whether there's going to be jail sentence time or anything like that remains to be seen. And, you know, with that, maybe I'll go into further detail about his life and what I'm aware of, but there's sufficient material out there that I don't really feel the need to do so at this time. And I want to keep this video about, you know, 20-25 minutes in length, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut the video here. But god damn, is that cringeworthy as all fuck. So yeah, now you know. If you clicked this video and you knew what was going on, like you know what I was going to be talking about, now you know. Something that you probably didn't want to hear about, but I told you anyway, because you might as well be aware. So next time that you reference Christian or talk about him to any great length, maybe take it with a grain of salt, or a fistful of salt if you're not afraid of a heart attack, and just bear in mind, maybe he's not exactly the topic of discussion that should be brought up these days. Anyway, this is Chujo Panda signing off. I hope you all enjoyed the video, guys. Till next time, take care and peace. I hope you all have a better one.